What's up, guys? I want to talk to you today about Deadrop, and specifically what I want to talk about is potentially what kind of equipment is going to be introduced into the game. Now, let me preface this first. There has been no confirmation about any kind of equipment coming to the game and what that's going to look like. The only thing that's been confirmed so far is that Rob mentioned in an AMA today that when and if equipment is introduced, some of it may be consumable and some of it may be persistent. Now, what that means is whenever you're in the world, whenever you're in the tower of Deadrop, you're going to be able to loot equipment, and whenever you get that equipment, it's going to be consumable, meaning it'll only have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 chances to use that, and once you use it, once you consume that equipment, it's gone. You have to loot it again, or you don't use it, you keep it, maybe you take it back to the hideout after you extract, or you win the Deadrop. I think that aspect about equipment is very interesting, and I don't think a lot of people have touched on this, but the dynamic of the gameplay would explode if we have some sort of equipment system inside of Deadrop. You know, I think it'll introduce a lot of good discussions with squads before they jump into a raid about, hey, are we going to this mission in this sector, in this area? You know, I've got a couple of grapples, I've got a wingsuit, you know, we can get up to this area if we do this, that sort of thing. If you've got the ability to stack your equipment. I love games that have equipment in it. Games like Battlefield, games like Halo. You know, it creates this diversity of the gameplay. It's such a wide dynamic of how you can play and what style you choose to go with. Equipment's cool because it develops your play style. What do you like to do? Do you like to be the movement guy? Do you like to be more of the tankier guy? Do you like to be the medic person? So playing those games with a lot of equipment inside of the game, there's a lot that would fit in Deadrop and there's a lot that doesn't. So I've got kind of 3 categories of equipment that I would like to see, maybe like to see, and I don't want to see at all. And first up, we're going to start with what I really want to see. So the big thing about Deadrop is that it's a vertical extraction shooter, right? A really good way to get down is some rappelling gear. Yes, there's zip lines, there's staircases, there's elevators, all of that in Deadrop currently, but let's say you're in a bad situation, right? There's a team pushing you. All you've got is a ledge behind you. Imagine inside of your stash, you've got some rappelling gear. You turn around, you hold E, whatever it is, F, whatever the interact is, you equip that equipment and you slap that over the ledge, you get out of there, you rappel down, you get to the next level, whatever it is. Say you're trying to get to an extraction below you. That would work as well too. This is a vertical extraction shooter. I think getting up and down is going to be extremely important, which leads me to my second thing, and it is probably the thing that I am wanting so badly in this game, because I think the dynamic of a grapple gun changes things, man. In Battlefield 2042, it's a blast. In Halo, it's a blast. I think even Rainbow Six Siege has it in the game now. Not only does it create fantastic movement clips, but again, you got to think this is a vertical extraction shooter. Getting up and down is going to be very important. So if you're in a bad situation, your extracts up a floor, whatever it is, hit your grapple gun. And remember, the way that I'm thinking about this is that it's all lootable and consumable. So that means you're running along, you find a loot box, you open it up, there's 1 grapple in there, and let's say it's got 5 shots. Once you use those 5 shots, it's done, it's gone for good until you find another one. That could be the same thing for a zipline. Think Pathfinder from Apex. That could fit very well in Deadrop. The cool thing about a zipline is that it would allow your whole squad to traverse up and down it, as well as enemies, you know, and maybe there's a mechanic in there that cuts it off, cuts it loose, whatever. There's a lot of different possibilities there. Another piece of movement equipment could be the wingsuit or possibly a deployable parachute, making cool escapes, that sort of thing. I can't imagine like the possibility of having a wingsuit and a grapple gun at the same time. Like, the movement, to me, that sounds incredible. I don't know if that's going to be the direction that they go, but you know, I imagine, you know, if you need a quick getaway, again, if you've got a squad pushing you, or if the extract's, you know, far down and you've only got like 20 seconds to get there, a wingsuit's going to get you there really quickly, or jumping off and pulling your chute will get you very quickly. It's high risk, but hey, high risk, high reward. And then the last movement equipment that I would like to see in the game is some sort of like mini lift or jumping boots. Now, when I say this, like, I'm sure people are like, what in the world are you talking about, Joker? Remember in Halo 3, that little lift that you could throw down and you could go through and it would propel you up to like just the next floor? Like it wasn't like Octane's jumping pad from Apex. You know, you're not going hundreds of feet in the air. You're just going like 10 feet, 15 feet just to get to the next level. I think something like that would be pretty neat. Maybe it's like jumping boots. Maybe it's not a lift. You know, maybe it is a jumping pad that you just throw down and your whole team can use it, or if it's jumping boots, only you can use it. And again, reminder, it's only like a 1-time, 2-time, 3-time thing, but I think that would make for some pretty cool clips, you know, getting up into the next level if you're trying to get away from somebody or if you're trying to push somebody, that sort of thing. And then I've got a couple of defensive things like a deployable shield. Now, I am not talking a riot shield. I don't want to see a riot shield in this game, and I hope they aren't introduced. At least do me a favor, you know, Midnight Society, if you're listening to this, if you introduce riot shields, please make them destructible. Like, don't make them invincible. If you've got a riot shield and you can destroy it, okay, now we're talking. But if it's just straight invincibility, I can't stand them. But I think a deployable shield like what you see Irish use in Battlefield 2042 would work great. You're able to set it down and walk away, and it just kind of remains there until it's either destroyed or it kind of despawns after a while. And to take that to a whole nother level, think about the bubble shield from Halo 3. It totally encapsulated you from top to bottom. So think about, this is a vertical extraction shooter, right? You're gonna have people above you shooting down at you pretty consistently, I would say. A bubble shield would allow you to pop that. You'd be protected from above as well as in front, behind you, that sort of thing. I have many memories on Halo 3 involving a shotgun and a bubble shield. Then you get into the information gadgets that are pretty neat that I would like to see in the game, like a heartbeat monitor. And I'm not talking from Warzone 1, I'm talking more so from Warzone 2, where it has maybe a battery, or you can only whip it out for 20 seconds and that's it, or whatever it is. And thinking about what kind of game this is, a vertical extraction shooter, whipping that out really isn't OP, because in Warzone it's more lateral. I mean, yeah, there's different floors above you, that sort of thing, but this whole game is a vertical extraction shooter, so whipping that out, you may see 30 dots, but they could be way up there, you know? So I don't think it'd be really overpowered in Deadrop. Kind of along the same lines there, another piece of equipment would be a spotting drone. I know this is in Call of Duty and Battlefield. Casper uses it as one of his gadgets, but that would be kind of neat. Maybe it's only got 30-second timer on it, whatever it is. So that's all the equipment that's really on my high priority list that I would love to see. Now onto the stuff that I would like to maybe see if it's balanced right. If you're familiar with the channel, you know I've played a lot of Halo throughout my life, and Halo Reach actually had holograms, and you see this in Apex with Mirage. I would actually kind of love to see that in the game. I think if it's balanced right, you could pick up like one hologram out of a box. Once you hit it and it does its thing, that's it, it's gone. I think a hologram would be pretty cool. It'd be a pretty neat mechanic, and you know what, the more that I talk about it, I think I want to move that up to the high priority, because I think that would work really, really well. A lot of trickery involved in that. That would be a lot of fun. Deployable cameras. So I know in Rainbow Six Siege, this is a major thing. The reason why I've got it in this category, I just don't know how useful it'll be really, unless you're trying to do one mission specifically where you're trying to get into one area. Maybe there's a squad in there and you maybe throw a camera up to see when they leave. Maybe you leave out of there and then check the camera to see if they're still in there, that sort of thing. I think we need to see how Deadrop is going to develop more before cameras are really a necessity. Maybe it's something that's not even used. And the next thing I've got is only in a if-only situation. And what I mean by that is if claymores, bouncing betties, you know, trip mines, that sort of thing is introduced as throwables in the game, I would hope that we would see some sort of EMP hacking, some sort of equipment like that would be able to disable those or see those through a wall, so that we can get rid of those. Because in an extraction shooter, when you've got high priority loot on your body and you walk through a doorway and you get killed by a claymore and the guy's halfway across the map, dude, the rage that would come over my body and just enslave me in a pit of agony. Oh my god, please, I'm begging you, Midnight Society, please think about, if you're going to introduce those throwables, please introduce some kind of EMP hacking whatever it is. I don't care what it is, just make it possible to get rid of those. Going back to the information kind of characteristics, Halo Infinite has a radar gun, and basically what that is it's almost like a pistol. You shoot it and a projectile comes out and it sticks to a wall, or it even sticks to a person. It's pretty funny. There is a small radius that kind of pulses out. It's not like a UAV, it's not like half the map. It's a very selective area. It's only like a room size. So if you know if there's a squad huddled up in a certain room, you hit that radar gun on the outside wall, it's gonna light those up, but not everybody on the map. I think that would be fantastic in the game. Along with that theme, I thought about maybe something like Tracker from Call of Duty, but instead of like having it as a perk where you see someone's footsteps, maybe it's like sunglasses or like tracker glasses. Heck, I don't know. Somebody more creative than me can figure out the name of it, but maybe you slap them on and you only get like 30 seconds of viewing. Try to find where a squad kind of ran away from you. That would be pretty neat, but again, I think that might need some balancing, so I'm just kind of wish-washy about that. Maybe not, maybe, I don't know. The last thing that I'll bring up is self-revives or revive pistols. I don't know in an extraction shooter if that's a good thing to bring in or a bad thing. I'm really not too sure. Self-revive is kind of one thing, but reviving your buddy with a revive pistol, I could see that might be good. And that's only if they introduce a down mechanic. That's in games like Battlefield or Call of Duty. When you get sniped in the face, for instance, you go down, you're in a down state, someone is able to revive you. I really do want to see that down mechanic. If that's introduced, a revive pistol could work. And if they don't want to go as far as a revive pistol, they could do like a health pistol, like in Battlefield 2042 with Falk. She has a little pistol that you shoot out and it just gives some health to your teammates around you. You're also able to heal yourself with it. And then really quickly, just to close it out, these are some of the pieces of equipment that I hope not to see in this game, because I either think they're OP or they're stupid. The first of which being camo from Halo. So camo or invis, you could pick this up and for a limited time you were pretty much, I would say, 90% invisible. While in a respawn type game like TDM or whatever, that certainly has its place, and it is a lot of fun. In an extraction shooter, when, you know, again, you've got high tier loot and you've got some invis guys staring at you in your face and just blows your head off with a shotgun, again, rage would infuriate me. It's just kind of cheesy for a battle royale or an extraction shooter. Following along with the Halo theme would be Overshield. Any kind of health buff, armor buff, just not a fan of. I think if you start to modify the body type and the health type, armor type of a character, it just doesn't work out. Again, it's just kind of cheesy and doesn't really have its place in a battle royale or an extraction shooter. Another one that I thought about was the goo gun from the finals. This, I just don't think that it fits in the realm of Deadrop. It doesn't even have to be goo, but something that shoots out some kind of obstruction. I think you could do that with the deployable shield just fine. I don't think it has to be something that like you shoot on walls or whatever. I just don't think that it fits in the world. And then I thought about breaching mechanics. You know, you see that in a lot of games. You know, C4, it blows up walls in Battlefield. You see a lot of breaching mechanics in Rainbow Six Siege. I think if they were to introduce anything like that, then destruction would have to be high on the priority list. Just based on what we've heard from Midnight Society, I don't think destruction is really high on their list. I don't think they're looking for Rainbow Six Siege or Battlefield destruction, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But I think if you were to introduce breaching mechanics of that type, then you would have to have destruction in the game, right? So I don't think that we're going to see that. And then the last one that I thought about is the repulsor in Halo. This would be just way too overpowered in a battle royale extraction shooter type game. Again, in a respawn game, it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite mechanics in Halo Infinite. To blast, you're able to jump up high, you're able to push people off the map. But it's just like way too OP. Again, if you've got high tier loot and you just get boosted off the map, then I would just be pissed. But what I could see is in place of that, you could have a shove mechanic to where maybe you get shoved only like 3 or 4 feet. You know, the repulsor throws you like 50 feet. Maybe a shove mechanic's the answer there. I don't know. That's all I've got for today. You know, these different pieces of equipment, you know, I've played games with them, you know, the past 20 years. Heck, we've been talking about Halo 3. And I'm just hoping that somebody at Midnight Society society is putting their thinking cap on. Who knows, maybe they'll come across this video and they'll see something that they like. So if you've got any ideas, any kind of good feedback, put them in the comments below. Having these discussions and these thoughts is why I became a founder. Hit the sub button if you like the content, and I'll see you, yeah, you, on the next one.